Hello, everyone. Welcome. Okay, look, got those. It automatically came on to sound tonight. That's awesome. And let's see who we have on. Welcome to Tuesday Night Live with independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, Teresa Harper. I'm located in Oregon in the United States. And we are going to be making a couple of cards tonight. Scoot those in the picture. And that's what we're going to be using, the bundle. And let's see if we can find the video for the comments. There's always a lag between the time I go live and the time it pops up. There we are. Now we've got it. Let's go ahead and there we are. Okay, good. And there we are. So hopefully as you're coming in and joining, I hope everybody had a good week. And hi, Tracy. Thanks for joining. I appreciate it. Hope things are going well. I've got the grandson again tonight while his dad's out of town. My mom has to go to work super early, so he's staying over. And gonna have some fun. Anyway, okay. Hello, Cynthia. So glad you're joining us. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and jump right in. Hello, Cher. It's nice to see you on. And we're going to talk about some new products. This is the new February product of the month. It's exclusive to this promotion. So when you spend $75 or more in a single order, then you can purchase this designer series paper beginning today for only $5. And this is while supplies last. Okay. All orders must be before or after you've taken off any coupons or Stampin' Rewards. So if you earned bonus dollars last month and you're going to use those coupons this month, your $75 has to be after you take your coupon off. Okay? All right, and the January product of the month, Fabulous Sayings, is still available. And again, only while supplies last. So if you place two $75 orders, you can get that. The Last Chance products category refreshed today. There's been new stuff added. I haven't even had a chance to look at it yet, so I don't know what's in there. I'm sure it'll be a lot of stuff. But anyway, just want to remind you to check the Last Chance list. The free stamp positioner when you purchase a starter kit of $99, you get to choose $125 in free product, and then you get the stamp positioner tool in your kit for free. That does not count as part of your $125 in free product. The stamp positioner is in addition to the $125 that you get to choose of your own. You pick whatever you want. Nobody picks it for you. And then there is stamp positioner grid paper that once you join, you'll be able to purchase. Okay. That takes care of all of that stuff, I think. I don't think I need to remind you of anything additional. A couple of new kits went into the offering today. I haven't looked at those either. But we're going to go ahead and get started. We have one regular card today and another fun fold, different from what I've done before. So we're going to be using Lovely Arrangements. This is part of the Lovely Blossom Suite. This is an online exclusive, and it came out in January. And so we're going to use this bundle tonight, but you know, I'm going to throw in other products with it because that's who I am. Hello, Laura. Yes, December product of the month. That paper, True Blue Florals, was also still available. So you have your pick. Really, lots of choices today. All right, so we are going to make our first card, and we're, in addition to the Lovely Arrangements, we're going to be using the branching out dies, the beautiful pattern embossing folder, and I think that's all the additional products, other than we will be using the Secret Sea bordered open weave ribbon. The paper that I'm using is Nature Walk. It's from a completely different suite. This is some pretty cool paper. I'm going to go ahead and show this to you pretty quickly. Just a quick flip of your patterns here. These are good for any cards. And in particular, we're going to be using this sheet today. And I've used the lower portion here. Okay, so let's get that out of the way. And let's bring in our supplies. Okay, get those out of the way. I've done the embossing and the die cutting with the branches. We're going to use a half a sheet of cardstock, and I've cut this one 4 1/4 by 11, and I'm scoring it in half at 5 1/2. And I'll show you why I'm doing this in a minute. Okay, then we have some of the Secret Sea open weave ribbon, and what I've done with that is I've taken about 14 inches and I cut it in half so that we have 2 smaller pieces. I'm going to use that. And then we're going to do some stamping. So for some reason, I did not give myself a piece of stamping paper. So let me grab a 1/4 sheet. This isn't quite a 1/4 sheet. Hopefully it'll work. Okay. So we're going to set our card base aside. And then I'm going to bring in a piece of basic white, Secret Sea ink, and I'm going to bring in the stamp positioner tool. Okay, I'm going to hope this all fits. Okay, so I'm going to take and put this in the little corner piece here. There's 2 little pegs here that are flat on either side, so you can stick your paper right in the corner piece and line that up. Then I'm going to put my magnets on there. And I'm going to take my stamps from the Lovely Arrangements. This looks like it might not fit. I don't know. It's going to be close, especially to try and die cut those. Okay, so we're going to do that. And we'll put our plate on top with the Stampin' Up! Logo to the right, and so it's legible. And then I'm just going to press that down. And I'm going to place that back in there. Put my magnets back down. And then I'm going to ink up my stamps with Secret Sea. Oops. Nope, I had it right. And then I'm going to lay that down and give that a little press. And that's going to release. And I didn't quite get a good impression there, so I'm going to lay that back down, press that again, and now I have perfect images. And now if my paper was big enough, I should be able to flip this around. We're going to find out here in a minute, because I need two, but I took a shortcut. Okay, and that is not going to be big enough. And see, I can put this all the way down and I'm not going to get any ink on there. So I can look and see, oh, that's not quite big enough. So we're going to pull a different piece. Let me find a different piece. Oh my goodness. You know what I did with that quarter? Oh, this will work. I don't have to cut a piece. I can use this. Whoops. And if your magnets stick together, you just pull them apart like that. They come apart easily. I'm going to flip that over. I got a little bit of dirt on there from my plates. Okay, because I need two of the small flower and two of the leaves. So we're just going to do this. And if I had used a quarter sheet of cardstock, that would have worked perfectly. But I didn't. So now we can just take and drop this down. I'm going to move that down just a tiny bit. And we'll give that a press. And there, we got a little bit here that I didn't quite get inked as much as I would like. And actually, I've had pretty good luck with this inking the first time. Must not have got enough ink coverage, or I've used my stamp so many times that it needs a better clean. Okay, so these are all the pieces that we need for this card. So I'm going to throw this in here. Remember, this grid paper is a separate item. Okay, so let's go ahead. I need to clean this off. I'm going to use these stamps again later. And I'm going to need them to be clean. Okay, so let's put that away. All right. Now, I'm going to take this card and I'm going to show you quickly how I colored my flowers. So I'm going to bring in some blends, some Stampin' Blends. And I've got Flirty Flamingo and Peach Pie. I'm going to bring in my coloring wheel. Okay. And I don't need to color all these because, to be honest with you, I've already colored and cut them, but I did want to show you how I did this. Okay, so I'm going to start with the dark Flirty Flamingo on the brush tip. And I'm going to go here in the center. And then I'm going to, where the artist has put these lines, I'm just going to flick in some Flirty Flamingo here. Okay. And then I'll switch to my light Flirty Flamingo. And where these petals overlap, I'm going to add in a little bit of Flirty Flamingo here. And then I'm going to go out and flick a little bit of color out from the center. And then I'm going to come in with my dark Peach Pie. And I'm going to overlap that Flirty Flamingo a little bit. Okay. Then I'm going to come back in with my peach pie. I'm going to outline the outer edge of my petals. Just like so. And then I'm going to come back in and I'm going to flick my color down and overlap that. And if I leave a little bit of white here and there, I am not going to worry about that because a little bit of white looks like a highlight on your petal. Okay. Okay. There we go. So there I have my flower. Now for this particular petal, I'm going to start with the light Flirty Flamingo. And I'm going to come in here. Okay. And I'm going to outline where these petals curl over. I'm going to go back to that dark Flirty and put that just in the very center. And then we're going to put in a little bit of the light. And then we're going to go back and we're going to take the dark peach and I'm going to run just a little bit over the top of the joining spot for the Flirty Flamingo. And I forgot to do my petals like this. Okay, and then we're basically going to do this one the same way we did the last one. A little bit of a dark peach pie. And then we're going to finish up this like this. Outline those petals. And flick that color down. Okay. There we go. And there are our petals. Now, I would need to do that to this smaller petal as well. Okay. And then when those are all colored, I'll take my dies and we will cut those all out with the coordinating dies. Put this on here. Boop. Okay. You need to line this one up here and that one. Huh, opposite. Opposite of what I thought. Oh, man, goodness. I did not have this much trouble lining this. Okay, let's put this the way it should be, right? Like, are you kidding me? There we go. Whew. Crazy. Okay, and then we've got this one. And we've got this one. Okay. And then we'll run those through our die cut machine. And do the magic of video. Those are all done. Okay. Now, while I was at my die cut machine, I cut out the fourth largest of the branching out dies and ran it through the beautiful patterns embossing folder. Okay, now with these petals, I went back behind and put a little bit of Wink Estella on the artist lines, okay? And then take a pair of scissors and cut down into your petals wherever the petals overlap, okay? Pulling those apart and then trim off the little edges there. And I did the same thing here. Just bring that in, cut it down. Okay. Did I leave one of these? Nope, I did not. Okay. And then we're going to take this. Oh, but here, this is what we're going to do here. We're going to take this, and I want to separate these leaves because I don't like that extra white in there. And I want my leaves to look a little more free-flowing, a little more natural. So we're going to do that. Okay. We're going to do that on both of them. We're going to cut one of these off, but I'm not going to cut the one until I figure out which petal I need. So I'm just going to cut that out. And cut that out. And now my leaves are a little more free-flowing. Right? Okay, so then we're going to take these, and we're just going to take our thumb, or you can take your bone folder, and give those a little dimension. We're going to do the same thing on our flowers. Just curl those up. Be careful that you don't rip them, especially where you've cut it. I like doing this with my thumb because I can get a little bit more dimension than I can with the bone folder. Okay, so there we have that. Now we're going to go ahead and start putting this together. Okay, let's find my sample card. Okay, so we're going to take this piece, and we're going to put one of our flowers up here like so. And then we'll put another one over here like this. And another one over here like this. All right, so that's our plan. And then we're going to stick this in here. And this one, we don't need this leaf right here. So I'm just going to take this and I'm going to cut that off. And you can either toss it or save it for another project. Okay, so let's put that out of the way. Now we've got this, and we definitely don't need that to be that long, so we're just going to snip that off, because this is going to go up here like this. All right, so let's go ahead, take a Stampin' Dimensional. We're going to put that right in the middle there. Okay, really fingernails. Okay, I'm going to turn this like this. Okay, I'll put that down. I'm not going to press it hard in case I want to move it later. That's the key to this. Do not press it down hard. Put in my dimensional here. Take that backing off. I'm going to put this in here. Kind of like this, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to, because I've cut those petals apart, now I can interlock them. That's what I'm trying to say, interlock. And then I'm just going to take this piece and I'm going to tip this over. And I'm going to put a dimensional here and a dimensional here. And I'm going to leave this one flat. I'm going to take a little bit of liquid glue and stick that in there. Take off these backings. Stick this in here like so. And I can lift these petals up. And again, I can interlock those leaves. Okay, and this one doesn't have a dimensional on it, so we're good there. And then we're going to take another dimensional here. Put that along the base of that flower. I'm going to stick this in here like so. Then I'll take this. And again, I'm going to take those dimensionals. That's just going to give my leaf a little bit of lift here and there so that it looks a little more natural. Put a little bit of glue. And we're just going to stick this in here like so. Then we can move these out of the way. We'll bring back in our card base here. And what can I do with my designer series? There it is, my designer series paper. I've got my piece of designer series paper. This is 4 by 5 1/4. Oh, thanks. I'm glad you like that coloring. I try really hard to make my flowers look really nice and full of depth when I'm coloring. Okay, now I want more green at the bottom and more blue at the top on this. So this is what I'm doing. This is going to be a side open card. Hot dog style is what they call it. Okay, so I've got that. Then I'm going to add this here. But I want to put this up a little bit because I'm going to put my sentiment down here. So let's go ahead and do our sentiment now. We need a piece of white. And hopefully that will be big enough. Yep, we're good. We are good. So we've got Sending Smiles. Again, I'm going to take the Secret C. This is a 1-color card. And we're going to stamp that down. And hope I didn't go too low, which I did not. And then I'm going to take this, center that up how I want it. Take a piece of Post-it tape. Or in this case, mint tape, whatever tape you want to use. Trying to center that up, and for some reason, my eyes just are like, I don't like it. But we'll see how this turns out. Okay, so we've got the Secret C. Let's bring in our mini machine. Grab our plates. We need base plate 1, acrylic plate number 2, paper and die. Oh, good, it's not too wide. And the top plate number 2. 3.5 inches is the piece of paper that you can put through this machine. It looks like that one was right at 3.5 inches. Okay, so now we've got that. And we've got our sentiment. This die comes in the Lovely Arrangements dies, so I didn't need an extra one. And then we're going to take this. I'm going to put some dimensionals on the back of this one. And I'm just going to put this long strip right there. And then I'm going to make sure this is opening the right way. We'll put this down here. Put sending smiles right here. Go ahead and put some liquid glue on the back of this. And then we're going to put this down. I'm going to try and center it about between the sentiment and the top. And then right to left. All right, and now we're going to bring in that woven ribbon. I'm going to bring in my bow jig because this is the easiest way for me to tie my bows. I'm going to take both of those as if they were still cut together or still stuck together. And then I'm just going to give this a good tie. Make a nice bow. I cut this at about 14 inches long. It's a little bit longer than I need, but it makes the bow tying a little bit easier. And then I'll center that up and pull it taut. Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and pull that off. Pull out those bows so you can see that I have to take a glue dot or two. I find two works best. I'm going to put one down, pull, put another down. That way I have one glue dot that's against the ribbon and then another glue dot stuck and then one that will stick to the paper. I'm going to put this at a little bit of an angle right there underneath that petal like so. Then I'm going to bring these down, give them a trim, bring these over, give them a trim. Okay, this card is almost together. Now, to this, we're going to add well, we are if I can find them, the flower centers, flower accents. Did I put those away? No, they've got to be right here in my bin somewhere. Maybe in my other bin? No, I cannot find them. What did I do with them? Are they in the wrong bin? No, I don't know where I put them. How does this happen? I try real hard to make sure I've got my stuff all in one little bin. Okay, well, I will put those on when, oh, there they are right there behind my sample card. Oh my goodness. I know this happens to other people too when they're crafting. It's like, where did those things go? Okay, so I'm going to take one of these large flower accents and I'm going to put it in the center of this large flower. And then I'm going to take another large one. I'm going to stick it down here, put a smaller one down here, and that is the front of my card. Excuse me. Okay. So for the inside of my card, what did I do with everything here? Oh, I was looking for my flower accents. I took a piece of 3 5/8 by 4 7/8. I stamped this image, and then I made a mask with the small flower there. And when I did it, I used a Post-it note. You can use masking paper. And then I cut it so that you can still see the lines. Put that down and then stamp my leaf on there. And then I colored that all in, just so it looks like my leaves are behind my flower. And then we're going to add this. I did not put a sentiment on this because this could be, thank you. It could be, hey, I'm just thinking of you today. It could be a birthday card. It could be a lot of things. And I will decide when I get ready to send it. Okay, so then I did the same thing with my envelope, and there you have it. There is card number 1. Oh, thanks, you guys. I'm really glad you liked that. Okay, let's go ahead and put that away. Switch bins, but not these. We still need these things. And we need different blends. Okay, this next card is a little more involved, but I've done some of it ahead of time. So, and you guys, I'm going to be honest with you, I've screwed this fold up twice. Okay, so first of all, this is a designer series paper card base. Okay, this paper is from the celebratory sips paper. All right, that is still available. Now, here's a trick. This is a tricky piece of paper because one side is non-directional, doesn't matter. One side is very directional, and it does matter. It also matters on what you want to be on the outside and what's on the inside. So if you want the green to be your main piece, okay, you have to score this with the green side up, okay? But you also have to have this piece, I think, upside down. Okay, let me look. I get so confused. Okay. Because you need this to be, nope, you're going to score it like this. Okay? If you want the green to be out, like this card, then you need to score it like this. Okay? If you want your florals to be out, then you need to score it like this. Okay? All right. So what you're going to do is you're going to score at 1 1/4, 4 inches, and 8 inches. And by the way, this is a 5.5 by 12-inch piece of paper. Okay? So 1 1/4, 4, and 8. Non-directional, just put the pattern that you want out up. Okay? Directional, this pattern needs to be down. Okay? So I've scored it wrong twice. So we're going to go with this. This is not what I wanted. This was originally what I wanted, and then it was a little busy. So in order to score that, so it's going to work out with the floral side up, you put the floral side down, score at 1 1/4, score at 4, score at 8. Okay? Then you're going to fold this back. This goes back. This goes the opposite way. And then this folds in like this. Right? Makes sense? And this is what you have. Okay, now we're going to add this to a Blackberry Bliss 5 1/4 or 5.5 by 4 1/4 inch piece of cardstock. This is going to be our base. So let's go ahead and do that now. Just going to take this and glue that down. Okay. And center that on that 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 piece of cardstock. Make sure that if you have a directional pattern, it's going right side up. All right, so this is what we have so far. And this paper again was from the celebratory sips. All right, now from Secret C, you're going to cut one of these pieces. From Old Olive two-tone cardstock, you're going to cut one of these pieces. Or sorry, I think I used Mossy Meadow. That's what I used, Mossy Meadow. So cut that from the Mossy Meadow two-tone. All right. You need a scrap piece of white for the sentiment. This is that same piece of Designer Series paper for the inside, and this is going to be a 1/2 inch by 3 or by 1/2 inch by 3 3/4. Yep. Okay. You need a piece of cloud cover cardstock that is 2 1/2 by 3 3/4. A piece of Blackberry Bliss cardstock that is 2 1/2 by 3 3/4. This is a piece that was in my stash. It uses the retired plaster folder, embossing folder. But I had it in my stash, so I'm going to use it. Then you need a piece of basic white that is 2 1/4 by 3 1/2. 2 1/4 by 3 1/2. And I've already stamped the flower in the bottom corner for that. Taking a piece of two-tone cardstock, fresh freesia. This is the 1 3/4 inch punch. Okay. And then from Celebratory Sips, there's a lot of pieces to this. From Celebratory Sips, what did I just do with that container? We have 24 1/2 inch circle punches. I have them in 4 patterns, 6 of each. I didn't want you to have to sit and watch me punch all those. So basically what I did was I took a 1/2 inch circle punch. I took this pattern here and I punched 6 circles out of one of these darker things, 6 circles out of this pattern on the back, and then this is the reverse side. This green side is the side we're using here, and I punched 6 1/2 inch circles out of this, and then I punched 6 1/2 inch circles out of this Secret C cardstock, and I've stacked those all up in the order that I want to use them. Okay, is everybody with me so far? Okay, now we're going to take the Secret C piece here, and I'm going to put some glue on the top half of these, just in the center, just like that. Okay, I'm going to take my Take Your Pick tool, and I'm going to pick up one of these, and I'm going to place it right here, and then I'm going to pick up a green one and put it right there, shift it over. So I'm using liquid glue. Now I'm taking a secret C. You guys, I tried not putting a circle on there, but my brain needed a circle because I just kept sticking down the glue. Okay, so now I've done that row. Now this time I'm going to start with the second one so that I'm making a pattern. And then I'll go to number 3, and then I'll go to number 4 here, and then I'll go to number 1. Now your brain tells you here that you should go to number 2, but that is not how the pattern works. So we started with the first one, start with the second one. Now we're going to start with the third one, which is the secret C, which keeps my pattern going. And then I'm going to go to number 4. And then I'm going to go back to 1 and to 2. And now this time I need to start with number 4. But I also need to add more glue. This just kept me from getting my fingers all over in the glue. If I only did half at a time. Okay, so I'm starting with number 4. And that's just going to keep my pattern going. Now I'm going back to 1. If you get confused, just look diagonally. Now, of course, you could do a random pattern. This is just how I happen to do mine. And then I'm going to go back and start with number 1 again. Oops. And 2. And 3. And 4. And then I'm going to start with 2. And 3. And 4. And 1. Okay, there we go. Now I have this cool little thing that is really dressed. Okay, here's the naked side. Here's the dressed up side. You can use it on the naked side, or you can use it on the dressed up side. I like the dressed up side. Okay, so now we're going to take this piece here, and we're going to add this to our cloud cover. That is 2.5 by 3 3/4, and that's going to leave us just a little bit of a border. Okay. Okay. And then we're just going to put this down and center it up as best we can. Okay. Give that a good press when you're happy with it. All right. Now, got a scrap piece here. And we are going to take and stamp our little flower, and we only need the little flower here. So we'll take some Blackberry Bliss ink, and we'll stamp that small flower, which is on our stamp positioner tool. So we'll pull that off. Okay, I'm going to put that on a block. And we'll do that in Blackberry Bliss ink. Okay. And then we already have our leaves. And then we just need our sentiment. So while we've got our Blackberry Bliss ink here, we're going to take a scrap piece of basic white. I'm taking the Happy Birthday from the Lovely Arrangements. And I'm just going to stamp that down. And then we're going to take the 3 banner punch. and put that in. And center that up. Give it a punch. And now we have our sentiment. Okay. So the last thing we need to do for the front of our card is to color this. So this time we're taking Fresh Freesia and Berry Burst. Okay, and one of these, this is my new one and this is my old one. Okay, I haven't labeled this one yet. We're going to start with the Dark Berry Burst. And I'm going to color this one just like I did the last one. Just going to put a little bit of Dark Berry Burst right there in the center. And then I'm going to go to the Light Berry Burst. And I'm going to run a little bit of color along here. Okay. Throw that out there like that. I'm going to put a tiny bit down here at the bottom. And I'm going to move to my Dark Fresh Freesia. Oh, wait a minute. I forgot. Got to do our veins. Remember, when you're using your Stampin' Blends, especially on the brush end, make sure you keep turning your blend so that you're wearing your brush evenly. Okay, now we're going to go to Dark Fresh Freesia. Put in a little bit of Dark Fresh Freesia there and there. And then I'm going to overlap those petals and put in a little bit, just brush it up. Run right along here, overlapping that color, going to the light, finish that in, outline. I outline first because that helps me when I'm brushing to not go out of the lines, because I don't have to get that close to the edge. Okay, so we've got that now. That flower is done, and of course, we'll take our Wheat Castella, put in a little bit of Wheat Castella, and then we'll run that through the die cut machine. And there we go. Okay, now again with this one I did not pre-cut because I wanted to show you. I'm just going to take and cut along that petal there, and then see where there's just this little teeny piece that's jagged. I'm just going to snip that off. I'm going to go in here, follow that artist line, snip off that little piece of white, follow the artist line, and snip off the little piece of white. Okay, that's how I did those flowers. And then, like I did before, I'm going to give this a little curve. Okay, now let's bring this piece back in. And we're going to attach this to this. But before we do that, we're going to take a piece of the Secret Sea bordered open weave ribbon. And I'm going to tie this in the bottom third around my card. Okay. And I'll hold this tight, hold my centers or my bows, get that up till I like how, and hold that in the center a little bit more. I want that to be just a little bit smaller. tighten that up, snip that off, trim that up. And this piece is now ready for our card. Okay? Now, we want to attach this piece to this. But we don't want to get glue here on this side or glue on this side. So I'm going to lay this in here and I'm going to look at this. And I've got about 3 rows here and 3 rows here. This paper's great for that. So I'm going to take my glue and I'm going to stay between those 3 lines. And then we'll put some glue there. And as long as I've got 3 lines down below and 3 lines up above, I should be good. And then I can center this up again, like I had it. There we go. Let's make sure our ribbon is how we want it. Give that a good press. And I'm going to take this and a glue dot. I'm going to attach the glue dot to my leaves. And then I'm going to very carefully lift that up because these leaves are pretty delicate. Oh, I got ahead of myself. Hang on. Let's stick this back down on here. We don't have what we need to stick that to yet. Okay. We're going to take this 1 3/4 inch fresh freesia two-tone on the dark side. I'm going to grab a piece of scrap paper here. I'm going to take some fresh freesia ink. And this stamp that we're using comes from the Good Luck stamp set that came out in the in the online exclusives in January. And it's just this little stamp right there. Okay. I thought that fit in very well with the centers that are between those circles. And so I'm just going to randomly stamp these little diamond pieces all over. Okay? And I'm using the same two-tone cardstock, or same ink as the two-tone cardstock, because I want it to be very subtle, because I already have a busy background. So now I can take my leaf and I'm going to stick this to my flower, kind of like that. And then I'm going to flip this over. Grab a dimensional. Stick that over the top of my leaves. And we're going to add this. We're going to stick this circle on first so that we know right where that's going to go. And put that in there kind of like that. There's my leaves. Right about, well, I'm going to have to pop that up a little bit higher. Hang on. See if I can still move my ribbon a bit. Just going to stick that in here. That's about what I want there. So we're going to go ahead and get some glue because we're gluing onto an even surface here. Okay, so I'll stick this back in here. Stick this back on here, like so. We can take our flower, add that in here, like that. Okay. All right. Now we just need our sentiment. And we're going to take this, and I like to take these, give it a little crease in the center, flare out the ends of the banner, and then we'll take another dimensional. And we'll stick that in the middle. And this is going to go up here, like so. I'm going to break the plane of this piece and just stick that down. Okay, so we've got our leaves breaking the plane on the left side, the banner breaking the plane on the right side, which makes it visually pleasing. All right, so the front of our card is just about done. We still need to add embellishments, but we need to do the inside piece. So we started with this, but I'm going to put a sentiment on here, okay? And so I'm going to bring in, this is a retired set. You can get your sentiments wherever you like, but I'm pulling in this sentiment from Best Year, and it says, wishing you your best year yet. I've taken the small Stampin' Positioner plate. I'm going to ink this up in the Blackberry Bliss ink. Okay. And this Stampin' Up! Red rubber is still thin enough that I can line this up on my glass mat or my grid paper. I can lay this down and line it up on one of my grid marks. Put that about where I want it. I can still slide it, and then I can just push it down. And there we go. There's our sentiment. And we're going to add this piece, excuse me, to this piece. And because this is embossed, I'm going to use liquid glue. Normally I don't like to use liquid glue on the basic white, but this is embossed and I want it to stick, so I'm going to go ahead and put that there like that. I'm going to take some Wink of Stella, and I'm just going to kind of color this in with Wink of Stella. Now you could use your stamping blends for sure, but my Wink of Stella is going to pick up some of that Blackberry Bliss ink, and I'm going to get just a little bit of color doing that. Okay, plus that's going to be super shiny. Okay, then we're going to take this. Wink of Stella dries really fast. Okay, now I need to be careful when I place this in here because I don't want this sticking and showing from the outside, right? So the easiest way to do this is to take this piece, get my glue on it, okay, then I'm going to lay this down and line it up with this piece, and I'm going to close my card and flip it over, make sure it's not showing, and give it a good press. And then when I open this back up, here is my sentiment piece, and you cannot see it from the front. It's a nice little surprise when you open it. All right. Now, we've got the inside, and that's kind of blank. So, we're going to take a piece of basic white, which of course, again, I didn't cut for some reason. Oh, you know why? Because I messed this up. I had to make 3 cards, and the pieces that I had pre-cut, I had to use for the other, because I had to change my color scheme. I'll show you what my original color scheme was again. Okay, so this piece needs to be 3 3/4 by 5. Okay, got that. And then with this, I'm going to take my I love that I've known you for so many birthdays. And again, I'm going to clean this off. I'm going to pull this stamp off and this stamp off. And I'm going to put this on my little stamp positioner plate. Okay, I'm going to put this on my mat. I'm going to line this up how I think I want it. Okay, then I'm going to set this down. I'm going to make sure that when I do this, that my sentiment is straight. Okay, and pick that up. Now hold this down so it doesn't go anywhere. Okay, then I'm going to ink this up in the Blackberry Bliss again. Whoa. I'm going to look through that, which I probably should have really done to make sure that was nice and straight, because it is not. Hang on for 1 second. Okay. I should have looked before I inked. Okay. That's just my chamois. Okay, now I can look at this and I can see that my birthday is a little bit high. So I'm just going to reposition that so it looks straight. Now I'm straight. Okay, now I can ink this up. Put this on my grid here. And line this up so it's about halfway there in the center. Like so. And then I can give that a press. And there I go. Okay, now I've got that. I'm going to take this. Now I could have done that on my stamp positioner. I could have lined it all up on the positioner, but didn't need to bring the base in. I'm good enough. And we're just going to put this piece of DSP at the bottom. Put on some seal. Close up my glues before they dry out. And then I'm going to add this to the center of my card. Like that. Okay, now you get to see both sides of that DSP. I used up some of my stash. And I've got a pretty card. Now, let's finish this off with some Moody palette dots. Okay. Originally, my original card, I used the iridescent pearls, but they blended in way too well. You couldn't even really tell they were there. So I'm going to take these Moody palette glossy dots, and I'm going to get one of the large dots here. And I'm going to put this down here. I'm going to put another one down here. Okay. And I'm doing this purposefully so that it's heavier here, so the recipient will know they need to pull here. It kind of leads them this way. And then I'm going to take another one of the dots and I'm going to stick it, let's see, right there, I think. Okay, I don't like that. Didn't press too hard, so hopefully that'll come right back up. Okay, good. I'm going to put it up here like that. I'll be happier with that. Okay? That will draw the eye to the happy birthday, and then it draws this back down here, and with the leaves pointing that way, hopefully, you'll know you need to go that way. All right, I hope you like that, Funfold. That's what I have for you tonight. And I do have an envelope stamped to go along with that. So there we go. Here is my original card that I did in the opposite. I used the same piece of paper, but this one has the florals on the inside. And so I used Berry Burst. The same DSP, but these pieces, rather than using the Secret C and those purple pieces, I used this sheet and this same pattern here for those. Okay. All right. So there you go. Oh, and just so you know, this I love that I've known you for so many birthdays. That is from the Cone Flower Celebrations. I love this set. Okay, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me. Here's your two versions of this card. And I will see you back here next Tuesday night at 7. And I'll be live on my YouTube channel Thursday night at 7. Good night. Thank you so much. Oh, thanks, Tracy. I'm glad you like that step up. That's not my idea. I saw that from somebody else. Can't remember who though.